Okay. So, this is probably going to be something for a while that I do. Where I'm going to have to read from my book because my thoughts get jumbled and I ramble. So, again, don't want to make this too long. So, let me tell you about this dream that I had last night. I had a dream that I found out my husband cheated, and this actually happened in real life. And I found out my husband was cheating, and the people that I confided in, I found out they also slept with him. And it was such a betrayal in my dream. And basically, I want to make this as quick as possible because there's so many details, but that's not the point of all of this. Basically, what I was doing was I was running around and I was trying to find someone to validate my experience in letting me know what happened was entirely messed up and that was wrong and I was right in feeling betrayed. But I needed someone to tell me this. And so in my whole dream, throughout my whole dream, I basically was looking for someone to pour my feelings into so that they can say, yes, you are absolutely right. So today I want to talk about something, and I'm going to read now. Your victim story is the key to your healing. A lot of times in our society, they say, oh, don't be a victim. Oh, here we go with your victim story, or whatever the case may be. They really demonize, maybe demonize isn't the right word. They really make it a bad thing to be a victim. And it's not a bad thing to be a victim. You were a victim. A victim is basically someone, well, I don't have that yet. I should have probably found the definition of what a victim is. But in my words, in my understanding, a victim is something that happens to a person that they weren't aware was going to happen. And then it happens against their will. Or without their knowledge. And so, like, they didn't have a choice. And by ignoring this is not good. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me read. So, quit trying to muffle and suffocate the victim within you. But also, don't let the victim in your story run your life. Okay? The balance is to embrace the victim in your story. Embrace, like literally, embrace, comfort the victim in your story and give them the validation that they need. And love them by implementing the lessons you've learned while moving forward. While moving forward, not staying in that. That is wearing your victimhood as a badge. And that's not something we want to do because then we stay stagnant. And that's not where we want to be. We don't want to be stagnant water. I think I said that right. We want to continue to flow because that's what life is about, is flow, right? So understand the victim in your story deserves a part in your life now because that victim is a part of you now. An emphasis on a part, not entirely you. Another thing I wanted to bring up, when a kid tattles, right? When a kid is tattletelling, what they're doing is basically seeking validation externally to understand that what they are feeling, this feeling that doesn't feel right, is in fact not right. The child needs the adult to validate their feelings, and after a while, the child will understand that what they are feeling is absolutely valid. And so this is how boundaries happen, and they can create their own healthy boundaries, rules by which the world has to treat them by, right? However, some of us didn't have that, okay? And so we're always looking for someone who we feel is bigger than us, our adult, to tell our victim story to, and to seek comfort and safety in them. And we want to live in that comfort, in that safety. But that is not how it's supposed to work. Okay? It's not supposed to work like that. The caregiver in our life, let me stop real quick. This may not be for you. You may have had a wonderful caregiver who was attentive to your needs, yet you still have BPD. And that is perfectly fine. However this fits for you, keep it. If it doesn't fit for you, then release it. Don't take it. Okay? This is for a group of people that didn't have a caregiver that would validate their feelings and let them know that what they felt was in fact right. And when we grow up without this caretaker, without someone telling us that what we were feeling was correct, or even giving us the safety and comfort to be able to speak up. I should have read. Let me just read what I wrote, okay? We know it's not right because of how, okay, tattletelling like a kid. This is external validation. We know it's not right because of how the incident made us feel. However, we need an adult, someone bigger than us, to tell us we're right in how we're feeling, i.e. validation. But if we never had this growing up, it's very hard, pretty much not even in our field of consciousness, to understand any of this, and even further trust ourselves because after some time of receiving validation, you understand that your feelings are correct, and you build confidence within yourself. And so then you can trust your feelings, and you build your confidence, and you build your boundaries, and you set them up, and you become ideally a healthy adult. When we didn't have this, we can't trust our feelings when it causes conflict and potentially rejection. We lose all confidence, and we lose all trust in ourselves because we don't want to be exiled. We don't want to be rejected. So we can't trust our feelings because we never spoke up, or we were never validated, or we were never validated. And that is the world that we live in. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And for us that it didn't happen, we have to do it for ourselves, especially if we're adults. Even more, especially if we are parents. Because if we cannot provide that validation for ourselves and we're seeking external validation, our children will learn this, and they will go through the same struggles and the nightmares that we go through. In theory. So I was thinking, how can we resolve this? And this is what I did for myself, and hopefully it can work for you if you want. But if you don't, then leave it here. It's okay. I'm not going to be offended. But write your story. Write your victim story. Everyone has a victim story. Everyone was a victim. Victim is not a bad word, and victim story is not a bad thing. It's it is, but you can alchemize. You can transform it into something that is a gift for you. So, what I encourage you to do is to write your story. And while writing your story, observe how you are feeling. And maybe put it in the margin or put it off to the side, or even just write it as you're writing your story. But note how you are feeling and put that down. If it helps, you can think of yourself as telling your story to your therapist or to a person you feel really cares about you. Because if someone really cares about you, they'd be attentive to the details, and they'd ask questions, and they'd understand, and they would see and make a note of how you're feeling. And they would tend to that, right? And for those of you who don't have anyone or can't think of anyone, there was a character. There was someone or something that at one point in your life you felt cared. And even if this someone or something turned out to be something that you didn't care, just try to conjure that moment when you felt that they did care and create that character for yourself so that you can begin this healing. Your feelings need to be validated. Your experience needs to be validated. You need to know that you were right. Your past self and or even your child self needs to know they were right. We don't have to go through relationships and gamble our heart energy away with people who may or may not be the right one. And usually, they're not the right one. Because like attracts like. And if we're seeking validation somehow, some way, we will probably attract those that are also seeking validation somehow, some way. And maybe they might connect and fit, but that's rare. Basically, we need to build trust in ourselves once again. And I say once again because at one point we did trust ourselves 100% fully. Believe it or not. When a baby is hungry, Does it ask, am I hungry? No. It cries until it receives food because it knows it's hungry. If a baby seeks comfort, does it ask, do I need comfort? No. It doesn't ask permission, or it doesn't seek that validation that, yes, I do need comfort. It cries until comfort is received, or whatever the needs are of the baby. There is a knowing that gets lost when words are found. You have to remember this. Words can sometimes pollute or fog up our knowing. So let your heart tell you. Your heart doesn't contain words. It's your brain that contains words. There's a knowing in your heart, if that makes sense for you. So after this, do something actionable. After you write down your story, after you observe the feelings, take a moment to embrace your past self or your child self. And I'm going to say child self because this is what resonates with me. And I do understand there are many things that may have happened in life that deserves to be validated. And please write those stories. But your child self is your past self, basically. And your past self is your child self. I was a child 5 minutes ago because it is my past. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. So after this, do something that is actionable. Something like cleaning or going for a walk or even brushing your teeth or making your bed. Something you've been putting off, that you've been neglecting. Do take a step towards resolving that. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Like, for instance, for me, I have to organize my bathroom closet because I have so many products, and most of them are expired, but because of this thing that I can't just throw things away. I have to make sure that they are throwawayable. And then even further, whether or not I need it, whether or not it brings me joy, right? With the whole thing with minimizing and stuff. I'm trying to work on minimizing and living a minimal life because we don't need all of these things. Anyway, I'm rambling. So for me, that's what I have to do. So that's my actionable step that I'm going to take after filming this. I'm going to take steps to organizing my bathroom the way that I feel free and comfortable in. For you, it may be just going for a walk and getting in touch with nature because you haven't for a while, or listening to music or playing music even. This is self-care. That's what it is. I never knew what self-care was. That people say, oh, self-care. What is self-care? Going for a fucking massage? Gee, I don't like massages. I don't want that. I don't want someone, it's a bad thing for me, But maybe that is what's for you. Maybe you used to love getting massages. Then go for a massage, yeah? This is love, okay? When a tattler tattles, the goal is to essentially, because I have kids, I'm going to say this. The goal is to essentially weaponize the adult or the parent into action against the perpetrator, or to receive comfort. Either way, the purpose is to receive an action. Validation must be followed with action. If someone says, oh man, that sucks, it, for me, it's still not enough. Maybe for you it is, but I don't know. I think, and my kids, it's not enough for me to say, oh, that's terrible they did that. No, they want me to, hey, don't do that. They want me to tell them, don't do that, right? It's an action. Just like love. Validation and love isn't complete without action. Do this for yourself. And that is it for today that I have for you. Thank the divine, thank Mama, thank your higher self for giving me this message, because I think Mama, my higher self, the divine, make it an amazing day. You are absolutely loved. Absolutely loved. Absolutely loved.